Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
This is episode number 142. Aaron, we are very much still in the garage, are we not?
Maybe. Yeah. Which garage are you talking about?
I don't know. The one that we're in right now. For those on the podcast, wondering what we're talking about, we decided to change up our virtual backgrounds to make it look like we're in Bill's place again. So really awesome job there by super producer Jason, kind of stitching it all together. Looks cool. Appreciate it, buddy. Hey, so we had some predictions last week. Well, actually, you know what? Before we even jump into the Sharks, I think last time around we had done this remotely because there was this kind of COVID scare, if you remember me talking about that. I'm glad that we didn't join forces there in the garage, because turns out a lot of folks that I knew ended up getting sick, and I did too. I will say this, though, if you did have COVID and it's this Omicron variant, fear not. It's basically like a heavy cold, at least for me. So if you guys have any questions about that, you're worried about it or whatever, I've got firsthand experience. I can help you out with that. So there's that.
You are vaccinated and boosted as well.
I am vaccinated. I am boosted. I don't know, whatever else you could have possibly have been. That's what I am at the moment. So yeah, I mean, fortunate enough to have all that done. I know there's certain places where they can't really get that done. So if you're not, please go do that. Don't get sick without it, and then get sick, because it's not a big deal after that. Okay, Aaron, you're feeling good though, right?
Sure. Yeah. No. As great as a dad of 3 little kids can be, but yeah,
no sickness.
No sickness. Just
Didn't
tired.
Catch anything.
Just tired. Every time I go, I have the sniffles and I'm tired. Is that COVID? No, I'm just a dad.
Kind of the extent of it, isn't it? Hey, for the folks that are here, hey, thank you so much for joining in right off the hop. We know who the real ones are. Please feel free to share us, retweet us, Instagram, whatever is down. But if it comes back up, go ahead and hit us with that one too. We appreciate all the sorry, I just had a door slam over here. We appreciate all the support we can get in doing that, getting our names back out there, letting the Sharks fans know that we are still here for them. That support group. Kumbaya. Okay, so Aaron, are you ready to talk about the past games? Because again, we had a little bit of a prediction there. You being more optimistic than me in this case, you were saying, these 4 games for this road trip, that you were hoping that they would get 3 points out of it. I was saying I'd be happy with a point based on the strength of the opposition, and I have to say it's good being wrong sometimes.
Well, it's 3 out of a possible 6 points right now, because they played the 3 games. The 4th one's tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at this week, they played Washington, then they played Florida, and they played Carolina, and they're going to play Tampa Bay. Going into those games, those were 4 of the top 6 teams in the league. So yeah, the Sharks weren't, it wasn't looking good to them. But at the same time, the Sharks play up or down to the level of the opponent that they're playing. So I'm sure they were feeling good as an underdog going into those games, and being away too, which is even harder because you get last change. So I think it's kind of funny. If you look at the 3 games, they played up and they played very well against Washington, had a great game. Against Florida, it was a very entertaining game. There was a lot of goals going back and forth, wide open game. It was not locked down whatsoever by either team. And then you look at the Carolina game, and that was the back-to-back afternoon game. I guess not really afternoon, but earlier game. And they went to overtime the night before, and they were already tired, and they already lost a few players. So yeah, it was, they were tired after that Florida game, you could tell. And the Carolina game was a lot tighter. And unfortunately, they just missed out on getting, 1 point by couple minutes. They scored a couple minutes left in the game. Yeah. That's just a tired team right there.
Well, let's talk a little bit about those games in particular. There was the 4-1 win against Washington. Of note, Noah freaking Gregor scores a goal. And I have this in all caps in our notes here, just to spite me. Because, again, I was the one saying anyone else, give him a shot.
Well, okay. That was a slam dunk goal. If he missed that, I think he would have been scratched or sent back down to the Barracuda.
Thank you.
Brent Burns did all the work on that.
Thank you. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted to bring up about that goal, was that I could have scored that goal. That was such a beautiful setup by Brent Burns. All you had to do was be in the right spot. Burnsy puts it right on the tape for him. Just tap it in, just like Happy Gilmore. And that's all he had to do, just tap it in. And that's exactly what he did. We've seen him throughout the other games being Noah Gregor, where he was shooting, firing, missing the net, hitting it right in the logo. Just couldn't seem to get a goal going on beyond that one there. And again, Burnsy doing all the work. Now, I'm not saying Noah Gregor is no good. Get rid of him. I'm just saying I still think it's time for somebody else to get an opportunity. I know we've got guys in the taxi squad. I would like to see a Scott Reedy maybe get an opportunity, jump up in there, play on that third line. I think, or actually the second line, I guess. But just give him a go. Give anybody else a go. Just some time, to kind of stretch their legs out on that second line and see how it goes. Again, I don't think it can go much worse. I think if Sasha was there, Sasha Shimolyevsky, if he was sitting there, he would have tapped it in. If Scott Reedy was there, he would have tapped it in. If anybody else is in that position, they're tapping it in, right? So, again, I think it's great that he got off the schneid. He got one. But I still would like to see him relegated back to kind of where he belongs and let anybody else really kind of get an opportunity there. So that's just kind of my take on that one. But hey, either way, I'm happy that he got a puck in the net there. Sharks win 4-1. Can't argue with that. And I think we have a clip here about Bob Bugner saying something. You want to set this clip up?
Sure. He was asked if he thought this was the best game that the Sharks had played all season, and this is what he had to say in answer to that.
I don't know if I'd say it's the biggest of the year, but it was definitely a response game. And I think you saw the things that we didn't do against Tampa, the desperation, the urgency, some depth scoring, some, the blocking of the shots and just sacrificing for each other. I think that's what we stressed the last couple of days is about showing up, responding and picking ourselves off the floor.
That's interesting. He obviously makes good points. He's saying how they pretty much play, like, to me, that was a complete game. That was a full team effort, complete game. Everyone looked good. They did score that one goal. And did you see the goal, how ridiculous that goal is? It's off the face-off, and Reimer even got the butt of a stick on it, and it still went up and in. Like, he probably should have had a shutout. But Reimer, again, seems like he's back in form. He's been playing pretty well. At least in this game, and help them really solidify that win. But yeah, to me, this is the kind of game that the Sharks would need to play for the rest of the season in order to make the playoffs. And I just don't see that, realistically happening, because not everyone can play a game like that every night in, night out for months. Like, maybe, that's a playoff game right there. That's how you play in the playoffs and how you get past a far superior team, which we see happen every year. But the Sharks, I just don't think they're built to last to do that through the season to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, it might be the case, but at least for now, we can be happy with a second game where Reimer starts here. 5-4 overtime loss to Florida. Unfortunately, the Sharks were ahead 4-2 going into the third period and just kind of melted down. I'm not really sure exactly what happened there, but to be fair, you take a look at the score and you see 5 goals against, and you think, man, he didn't do so well. The Sharks scored 4, should be able to win this game. But Reimer stood on his head. I thought he had 43 saves in that game. So, his save percentage was just below 900, and he let 5 goals in.
He actually had 45 saves. He was at 900 save percentage, even though he gave up 5 goals.
Oh, I thought it was 43 saves on 48 shots. He had 50 shots against?
45 saves on 50 shots.
Wow. Okay. I stand corrected. He was a 900 save percentage, letting in 5 goals. That's pretty incredible. So, I still think he did a marvelous job. He got shelled. And, the save percentage, it's kind of a team thing, yes. But, the guy just, he saw so many shots, saw a ridiculous amount of shots. So good to see him playing that way in a second consecutive game here on the road. So, again, this is the game against Florida where, they're playing against Jumbo. Now, they hadn't played against Jumbo since I think it was 2003. Would they say it was like 18 years or something like that, Aaron? What was it?
Yes, I think I put it in the last show, but I think it was in November of 2003. It was before the lockout of 03 or the 04-05 season when he was on the Boston Bruins, and his cousin Scott Thornton had scored 2 goals in the game. That's how far back it goes. It's Thornton, Dampus. I think Ricci and Nolan were still on the team and playing. Like, just so many throwbacks right there.
Yeah, loads of them. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You know what? We have another Bob Bugner clip here. Did you want to set this one up as well?
Sure. Like, another question was asked if what he thought about this game and what they could take from this, because it was kind of a disheartening loss to lose that in overtime when I felt like, because Reimer stood on his head, even though he let in 5 goals, I thought he was one of the best players and could have stolen another point out of that game. So here's the clip from Bob.
Yeah, that was a fast game. They come in waves, and real good offensive team. Obviously, I think number 1 in the league in puck possession, and you could see why. They got a lot of skill. I'm proud of our guys. I thought we battled hard. We had ourselves in a position to get 2 points. You could tell we got tired as the game went on when, we lost Mario. It was tough on our D. We made some mistakes. We also had a couple good chances. I mean, Bob Roski made a great save on Benino. So, hey, we score 4 goals on the road. We get a point out of a building that's not really that forgiving this season at all to any visiting teams. I think, we'll take the positives out of it.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at I'm a Shark for Life here. You can go ahead and talk about the clip in a second, but he says, so much for Reimer crashing and burning, shaking my head, Aaron.
No. Let me address. I saw that too. Like, I didn't say he was going to crash and burn and be done for the season. I said it was a market correction because he was leading the league in save percentage for a while there. Mm-hmm. Not that he's a terrible goalie or a bad goalie, but I don't think he's the goalie that could carry a very heavy load, which I've said in the beginning of the season. Him and Aiden Hill are going to go back and forth. Right now, Hill is hurt, so we're going to see more Reimer back-to-backs in more games. But I think he's still a very good, capable goalie. I just don't think being in the top 5 in the league, I don't think is right. I just don't see him being that kind of goalie. Yeah. So it was a market correction. So crash and burn is he's at the level where he should be, not he's done and out of the league like Martin Jones should be.
Yeah, he's probably not the guy that your point is basically he's not the guy that you're going to be able to ride through the playoffs necessarily, right? So even if the Sharks end up getting there, he's probably not going to be that guy. He did it with Toronto, and he almost got through that series with Boston, that infamous series with Boston. But I guess what you're saying is now he's not that guy.
He's a 1A, 1B goalie. He's good for a good, couple weeks, and then he's just going to have a market correction, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Most goalies are like that. There's not a lot of goalies that could be like, who's the heavy workloads here? Shesterkin in the New York Rangers and Hellbuck in Winnipeg. Like, those guys are the workhorses that are going to get 60 games. There's not many goalies like that left in the NHL.
Nicholas Egan commenting, still an upgrade from Jones last year. I cannot argue with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what Doug Wilson did, getting both Aiden Hill and Reimer so far, I think has been a plus. Like, I don't see any negatives to it at all.
Yeah, and to be fair, again, credit where credit is due. I think Bob Bugner's system is working, and I think that the defensemen that they've managed to plug in, and we'll get to this in a bit, and someone else had made a comment here talking about how, I think it's Joseph Stockman here, is saying that their defense is full of injuries. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We've had quite a few out. So, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later on. But all things considered, I think the system seems to be working fairly well. And a lot of people have been calling for Bob Bugner's head and saying, he's not a big coach or whatever else. And you got to look at what he's got to work with here. Okay, there's a lot of guys that are out, a lot of guys that are brand new, up from the AHL. So, and some big personalities on the team too. There's a lot of things going on. Coming off of 2 years of COVID, coming off of the whole Evander Kane thing. I know they said that it's not something that they think about or care about, but let's get real. It's there. So,
your leading goal scorer going into the season, like, that's going to hurt you. And you're not. Right. He didn't get replaced. I want to say it was Corey Masisak who said it, I think, on Twitter, saying if the Sharks make the playoffs, Bob Bugner has got to be up for the Jack Adams Award, which is the Coach of the Year award, right? Because he is pulling them up by their bootstraps and making them a hard team to play against. And if they can actually pull it off and do what I say they're not going to do and make the playoffs, I think it would be well deserved for him.
I agree with you on that one. Speaking of hard-nosed defense, They go up against Carolina, and this is a team that's pretty offensively strong, we'll say. And they were able to hold them. They held them to one goal throughout the majority of the game. It was just in the last few minutes of the third period where they end up letting in a second goal. Now, again, Reimer playing in a back-to-back situation after having faced 50 shots against the best team in the league the night before, comes back in net, locks it down. So, yeah, Aaron, I don't know what you're talking about. He's amazing. But yeah, no, he does a great job, comes in, and, after all that, again, stands on his head, plays a great game. The defense rallies around and does a great job keeping the pucks to the outside for the most part. They did get a lot of pressure in their zone, but they handled it. They managed it for the most part. So it was one of those good defensive efforts. Luckily, they got a goal there, but it would have been nice to maybe force that one just a few more minutes, get into the overtime, and then maybe if you lose there, you get a point, get an opportunity to win one, though. So that one would have been nice. And you look at this and you could really honestly say, man, they almost had 6 out of 6 points on this 3-game stretch of the road trip.
It definitely would have been a huge confidence booster to them. Obviously, it would have helped in the standings had they gotten those more points. But absolutely, this is, I mean, even without those wins right now, I think that's a big confidence boost. I think going into the Tampa Bay game tomorrow is going to be huge if they can somehow either pull out a win or some points, maybe a loss again in overtime. If they could do that, I think or at least play well, like maybe you play your best game like you did against Washington, but you still kind of lose by a goal. I still think that's going to be a good confidence booster that, hey, this system and everything, when we're playing our game, it's working, and we should keep that up going into an all-star break. So they're getting a little bit of a break now, and coming back refreshed, not as banged up. Maybe we'll see Ferraro back by then. We don't know. So they're going to get some guys they'll be healthy again. And I mean, every team will be, but at least they're going to be refreshed coming out of the break.
Right. And, speaking to the defense that I think it was Joseph had brought up earlier. Yeah, the blue line's pretty well beat up right now. They do not have Erik Karlsson. He's out with I think it was a muscle tear in his forearm. He has surgery on that. So that's going to be a while until he's back. I think they said March.
Mid-March.
Mid-March, Mario Ferraro, although, let's see, in this week of playing, took a puck to the face, a shot that ramped off of his stick, hit him in the mouth. He visited the dentist, and he was getting that all worked on. I guess Logan Couture had likened it to when he got hit in the face with the bug. Says, I know exactly what that's all about. So, yeah, poor guy, man. Like, just probably the happiest guy on the ice most times, if not, comparing him to Tomas Hertl, if not him, then it's definitely Mario Ferraro. And his smile is never going to be the same, unfortunately. So he was on the rink for practice, I think they said, though. So good on him getting himself back in the action, at least kind of keeping himself ready and warm. I don't know if we're going to see him back in playing form anytime soon, but we'll see how that goes. But you're losing out on both Erik Karlsson and Mario Ferraro. Those are two really big names that are out of your defensive core. And, although Erik Karlsson may not be known for his defensive play, I think Mario Ferraro certainly holds his own, and it's the hustle for me out of Mario in his own zone. You never see the guy standing around or gliding around. He's always on his horse, always pressuring. So that makes a huge difference not having him out there. So, again, the blue line a little bit depleted. Not that Jake Middleton is exactly a stalwart or a regular in that defensive core. But this season, he kind of was. He was coming out in the beginning of the season as that other guy, that sixth guy. And I say sixth, but realistically, he was partnered up with Erik Karlsson. So, and they were doing fine. They were doing well. But again, the only reason Middleton was in was because Knizhov was out. So, I mean, there's so many guys that are just, having issues and they're out from the lineup now. And even Megna, I think they said Megna was looking like he might have gotten an injury there as well near the end, but he was kind of playing through it or something. I read something about that. So there's just a whole lot going on the blue line. And for all these guys to kind of step in and play as well as they have, like a Megna, for instance, Milosh is another one. Milosh has stepped up big. I think he's shown that, if we trade Šimik away, for instance, he could certainly step in and they wouldn't be much worse for the wear. I would be more than happy to get something for Šimik if that meant that Milosh is getting some playing time. And I wouldn't feel like the Sharks are that much worse of a team, to be quite honest. So I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to say about the blue line necessarily, but yeah, I mean, I think considering what they're missing, they're not doing too bad holding teams like Carolina to a single goal up until 3 minutes before the end of the game.
Well, you take out Middleton, Karlsson, and Ferraro. That's 3 of their top 4 defensemen if you look at the first 2 months of the season.
Right.
That's not a lot of teams are going to be able to survive that. If you look, though, the ice time, Marc-Edouard Vlasic stepping in now and getting some major ice time. He's getting about 15 minutes or so, right?
Got no choice.
Right, but it's not like he's some rookie, so he knows how to play those minutes. It's kind of good to see him and his stock kind of rising a little bit more. Maybe some trade bait in the summer.
Oh, stop it.
Team.
No one's going to trade for him. Come on.
I know. Anyway, it's good that he's stepping up and playing. I mean, he had 23 minutes to the game that Ferraro went down, and then he had the next night's, where was it? I just had it here. 19 minutes. So it was a little bit more spread out, but he's getting more minutes and not, melting down with it. So it's good that they have somebody that can step up in there, finally, earning their salary for, was it $7 million a year? But it's, you're right. It's we'll see how this goes, and I'm hoping at least 1 or 2 of those guys can make it back by after the All-Star break. That will definitely help in the back.
Yeah, and he may not be on the All-Star team, but he's certainly playing like one in terms of the amount of minutes the guy logs. Brent Burns, I think they had him at over 33 minutes in the game previous to Carolina. That is a ridiculous amount of minutes to be playing. So, people have a lot of things to say about Brent Burns. Maybe he's not, the best defensive defenseman that there is, right? But he certainly does a lot offensively, and you can't knock him for the amount of minutes that he plays. He's constantly out there. He's constantly put in these situations. And, for a guy who is out there for 33 minutes, and you look at maybe the turnovers or maybe the bad plays, laying down on the ice when he should be staying on his feet, those types of things. He gets put in those situations more often because he's playing more often. You're not going to see guys, the younger guys doing that. They're only getting like 8-9 minutes a night because they don't have the opportunity to do that for only 8-9 minutes a night. Right. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with Brent Burns. I know some people do, but for me, my hat goes off to the guy for the amount of time that he's asked to be out there. And clearly the coaches trust him. They would have put, Vlasic, if they needed supreme defensive talent out there. Vlasic's probably still the defensive defenseman on the team that you can trust, who's healthy right now. He's probably the guy that they would lean on, but they constantly go back to Brent Burns. They trust him. So, again, I just think he gets a bad rap sometimes. And for the amount of minutes he plays, I can't complain.
He's 36 years old. He's turning 37 in a month. And he's getting this many minutes, and he's still a very effective defenseman. You don't see this many older guys. Maybe Zdeno Chara is probably the best example of someone who's over 40 and still playing and effective in the NHL in high minutes. But it's such an anomaly. Like Brent Burns is an anomaly. He takes such good care of his body. He changed that up, or I think around when he turned 30, just changes like eating habits, workout habits, everything. Also conditioned more to be a defenseman than a forward, because he used to be, a right winger and everyone always wanted him to go back. But having Brent Burns on the ice for 33 minutes is better than having him on the ice for 19 minutes as a forward. He's just much more dangerous and makes the team better.
I want to ask you about Nick Milosh, and then we'll get to a couple of these comments. Do you feel that he is ready to take on maybe just that, bottom 6 defenseman, right? Do you think he's ready to be that guy in the NHL?
It's tough. I'd say yes, but the depth chart right now is tough. Yeah, because he's a right-handed shot. So is Ryan Merkley. So is Brent Burns. So is Erik Karlsson. Erik Karlsson being out now for a while is going to open up an opportunity for him, because now there's 3 right-handed shot defensemen that can slot in there. There's a question about Ryan Merkley here about where is it? Nicholas Egan asked, how do you guys feel about Merkley getting scratched and moved to the taxi squad? I'm fine with it. He's very young, And I think it's exactly what Bugner said, is sometimes it's good for guys to go and watch the game from up above and see it differently. Offensively, he's doing great. It's the defensive stuff and just typical young defenseman mistakes. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't think he's going to get, he's not going to get traded. He's not going to get cut, whatever. So I have no problems with it.
For my money, I think I like Milosh over Merkley for that third right D position.
If Karlsson's in the lineup, you mean?
Yes, if Karlsson's in the lineup, yeah. I think I like Milosh there just a little bit more. I think he's definitely more defensively sound, and I don't think you give up a whole heck of a lot for what a sixth defenseman ought to be offensively, right? Now, obviously, Merkley brings quite a bit of offense there, but there's that trade-off. I don't really feel like you need a Ryan Merkley to play on your bottom pairing. That's kind of my take on that one. But, again, like you said, he's still very young. There's really no issue with it. Get a chance to kind of watch the game, learn the game a little bit more from that higher level, literally from the higher level, looking down from the rafters. So, I don't know. I would be perfectly happy seeing Nick Milosh get more opportunities and kind of find his way onto the roster in years to come here. But we'll see how that one shakes out. Who knows? Any other comments here you want to take on before we jump over to anything else? The only thing else I want to talk about in terms of like this facing adversity thing was I love calling this line the way that I'm calling it, the Eno Ano Edo line, which is Bonino, Cogliano, and Nieto. It's the Eno Ano Edo line.
The Italian
it's gonna
line.
Catch on. It's gonna catch on. You watch.
The Italian line.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Ano Edo.
From the spaghetti line.
Spaghetti line. Cogliano, I guess, is probably, yeah. Anyway, I think that they have been doing such a great job on that third line. They've been pretty reliable. They've played actually quite a bit of minutes. I think when you look at, I don't know if it was 5-on-5 or if it was just at all strengths, but you had two of the players on that line. I think Cogliano was the odd man out, but Nieto and Bonino playing the fifth and sixth most minutes of all the forwards, which basically means your top line 1, 2, 3, your second line 4, and then the third line guys were jumping in 5 and 6 as the most minutes. So they're trusted out there, along the same vein as Brent Burns, right? They're maybe third line guys, but they are trusted. So for me, good to see those guys out there. You always see them working hard, always chugging their legs, always trying to get in the way when the opposing team is bringing the puck down. So they're doing a really good job, I think. And if you look at the high danger chances against, I happened to look at this the other day. Their time on ice isn't so far off. Like it is because they're third line guys, but it's not so far off, like 9 minutes a game or something like that. It's getting close with the top two lines there, but the high danger chances against are a lot lower, right? To compensate, I guess, if you will, because they're only getting as much minutes. Lines 1 and 2 are getting more, so obviously there's going to be more against on those guys because they're out there longer. But they're also generating some high danger chances as well, pretty evenly. So I think they're doing a great job. They're not there for the offense; they're there for the defense. They're there to stuff guys. It's nice when they get a goal, but really when they're out there, you're really hoping that they just kind of bide some time for the top two guys to get a little bit of a rest, put some pressure on them, stop them from getting into your zone, that kind of thing. So, all in all, I think they've done a marvelous job. I'm very happy with them. So it's good to see them kind of getting in stride.
To me, they're a good third line on a good team, and they happen to be a third line on a mediocre team right now.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely, they're trusted. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I like the mix. I like Nieto's speed that he brings to that line. And even Cogliano and Bonino are not slow by any means, but he adds a little bit there. And my apologies. Thank you, Anthony Sanchez, for pointing out that Nieto is Spanish and not Italian. My apologies.
It sounds Italian, I think, is where you were going, but
right. Yeah. I didn't really know their backgrounds. I was just totally joking there. And before anyone gets on our case, Paul and I are both Italian, so I know it might have sounded a little derogatory
So,
calling it the spaghetti
last
line.
name is Sunseri, okay, but I've actually heard people say, "Isn't that Japanese?" I went, "Whoa, have you seen me?"
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's I think it's a good line. I like the line. I think they've done well, and I think I hope they do well going forward because they deserve it. They're working hard out there. So I'm very happy with them. I think let's say Alex New 25.
Olsen Sarison.
Thompson Sarison. Yeah, there you go. Now I'm what is that, Swedish? With sun at the end? I don't know. I would say Malash has overtaken Merkley on the depth chart. Okay, he agrees with me on that one. That's interesting. And no, Anthony Sanchez, no. We cannot celebrate Noah Gregor scoring a goal finally. No. We can't.
I will.
No. Because
I'm
it's
happy.
Brent Burns.
I want to see him be successful. He gets so many chances. Every game he gets so many chances. His shooting percentage is just horrendous. His accuracy is just not at the NHL level, and I think that's his problem. He cannot finish. That's his problem. He's getting every opportunity, every chance. His speed puts him in a lot of situations that a lot of guys can't get into at the NHL level. So he has NHL elite speed, but he doesn't have the NHL elite shot, if you will. That's his problem. I don't know how you fix that.
You give the puck to Brent Burns and you hope he gets open for you.
That's one.
Hey, man, it worked, didn't it?
Yeah. Anthony also said Milosh needs to learn how to use his large frame and be an effective physical D-man. However, what did I say before we went live? You remember about Milosh?
I wasn't listening to you.
How many hits did he have in the Florida game?
And we're trying to figure out if there's some sort of a weird bias thing there, but it's usually the home team who has the statistician going, right?
Right. Yeah.
So he had 11 hits.
He had 11 hits in that game. I know it went to overtime, but overtime wasn't even that much. I don't even know if he got any ice time in overtime, but 11 hits in the game. And the game before that against Washington, he had 5. Shimmick had 6. So he was the second leading hitter. Oh, actually, he was the second one behind Shimmick for hits with 5. So he's hitting. I mean, these could be, and what Paul is saying is each statistician in each arena is different. Like if you bump a guy shoulder to shoulder, you're not really hitting him. You're just kind of bumping into him. Some will call that as a hit. Others, you need to like lay them flat on their back for them to call it a hit. So it is very, very, what's the word, objective in each arena.
Yeah.
So it's a hard stat to kind of really focus on. But when you have 11 hits in that game and the next closest person on both teams had, who was on their team? I'm losing it now. Awesome. That's 4. Thought they had someone else that had more. Yeah.
No.
Florida only had 4 hits. Granted, I guess Florida had the puck more. So they had more to hit.
Yeah. That's usually how that stat goes, right? Oh, they're a more physical team. No, we just had the puck more, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, Gregor has the 5th most expected goals of all players on the Sharks. He's 15th in actual goals. Yeah. He must have the most expected goals. Because I would expect one of them went in by now. Right?
Think of that. He has what, 5 on the season? 4 or 5?
No.
4.
No. He has, was it 2? I think this is 2. It's either 2 or 3. This is either 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was number 4.
He had 5 assists. He had 6 points, I think it was. 1 goal and 5 assists. It was 1 goal or 2 goals. I can't remember. Somebody look it up for me, please. But
2 goals
and
and 6
he doesn't.
assists. 2 goals. 2 goals and 6 assists.
There you go. See, when we were talking about this before, I was saying he had 1 goal, 5 assists. So now he's played this week, maybe, I guess. I don't know what it was, but he definitely got the goal this week. He must have gotten an assist somewhere in there too.
He got an assist in Florida. Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, man. Like, hey, I'm not saying he's terrible, okay? I'm not saying get him off the team. I'm not saying we need to trade him away. I'm not saying to buy him out. And I'm not saying any of that stuff. All I'm saying is it's not really working, man. Like, get someone else an opportunity. That's it. Just give someone else a shot. Because we've seen what he can do, and it's okay. Like, it's not that impressive anymore. Like, let's move on. He's fast. Great. Matt Nieto's fast. If that's the main thing that we like about Noah Gregor is that he's fast and he misses the net, then put Matt Nieto on the second line. He's fast and he misses the net. Let's go. What are we waiting for? How many goals does Matt Nieto have this season? Can you see that right now? Yeah, try to look that one up real quick if anybody else wants to. But Matt Nieto, at least, again, if he's got the same thing going for him that Noah Gregor has, is that he's quick. Look, he's got 4 goals. He's got 4 goals from the third line. You got Noah Gregor has got 2 goals from the second line.
He hasn't been on the second line all season.
I don't care. This is me as the face of someone who doesn't care, Aaron. Okay? Switch him up. Give him a shot. He's at least got more experience, got a lot more NHL experience. He probably know what to do with the second line opportunity better than Noah would. Oh, he's saying Anthony Sanchez calling you guys his 3 goals.
I just looked it up. It's 4.
Yeah, he says 4. Sorry, Anthony. Someone's going to throw a shoe at you. Nicholas Egan, Paul, who would you give the shot to over Noah Gregor? Now, again, Nicholas, I'm not saying there is a player that's not currently getting a shot that is better. I'm not saying there's somebody out there who is a better player. But I am saying that, well, he's not quite a second-line guy, and give anyone else an opportunity to show if they can step into that role. We don't know unless we try. I wouldn't mind seeing Scourity in there. I wouldn't mind seeing Sasha in there. I wouldn't mind seeing Hubgavox get another go. He had a couple games. I thought he did pretty good there for a little guy, right? I mean, there's a bunch of players I think you could take a look at and just say, you know what, does he deserve maybe a couple games here and there? I'm not saying he has to be there for the whole season. I'm not saying they're going to blossom there for the whole season. What I am saying is give him a game or 2. He might surprise you. Who knows? Guy gets a goal here and there. 1 goal in 5 games. It's better than the 1 goal in 26 games I had before he scored a goal the other night, right? So I don't know. I just feel like, somebody else, anybody else, even if they're not considered a better player, could maybe step in and give them a look. And look, if we're all saying that the Sharks aren't necessarily a playoff team here anyway, then what's the problem with giving somebody else a shot and giving someone else a look? That's, again, my take on it. You guys may not agree, but
that will come sooner than later.
What's that?
I said that will be coming sooner than later.
What's that?
Other people, other younger guys playing, because the Sharks are just going to start sliding in the standings, I think.
Probably. Yeah, we're gonna need bodies to fill those empty spots when we trade everyone away. Stop it, Aaron. Stop it, Aaron.
I didn't mean that, but it's either that or Gregor's just keeping that spot open for warm for Phil Kessel.
By the way, I think it was the Carolina game. It was Balcers had the goal. Did you see how that went in? By the way,
the Balcers win.
It was a shot from the point, or it looked like a shot from the point, and it turned into a kick. Do we have this? Do we have a GIF of this that we can put up? No? Okay. It was on net, and Dolan was tapping his stick like, hey, I'm here. And as soon as he did that, the defenseman was like, oh, I'm going to tie up your stick now. So he ties up his stick. Goes down low, with the puck goes on net there, and Dolan, like a soccer star that he is, just gives it a little redirect with the skate, little kick, little boot, and puts it right to Balcers. Right, not to Balcers, to where Balcers is going. Just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. First of all, the ability to even angle your skate properly and get it to where he's going in the first place while your stick is tied up, while there's another defenseman skating through that area, to be able to get the puck there in the first place. Because again, it's not like you're training to kick the puck into areas. You're training with your stick. More often than not, you're training with your stick, not with your skate. That's the first thing. But then second, just ability to do that aside, just the know-how, the quick thinking to just, I'm going to angle my skate and kick it over to him. Like that went through his head before the puck got there. That for me, that's just an amazing offensively minded talent, incredibly skilled player. And they didn't catch it on the broadcast. Unfortunately, they caught it after the fact. It was Sheng Peng who had asked Balcers, hey, so, the puck gets in there. Can you tell us how that went down? And I'm sorry, I might have hit the mic there. Can you tell us how that went down? He's like, oh yeah, Dolly gave me a nice little redirect off the foot there. He's like, what? So Sheng Peng wrote an article about it afterwards, and you can go check that out if you want. SJ Hockey Now, I think is what it is. And you could see the slowdown on the GIF of him kicking it over to him, which is incredible stuff. I'm very impressed with Jonathan Dahlin. I had my reservations, but I'm happy he's with the team, and I think he's only going to blossom from here. So I'm looking forward to him in the next year or two, really becoming, the NHL caliber player that he always thought he could be.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of a gem. I mean, do you remember who the Sharks traded to get him to Vancouver?
Yeah. Oh God, no! Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Oh God, he signed my son's jersey too. Sumela, Antti Sumela.
No,
No, was it?
that's what we got Barabanov for.
Oh, Barabanov. That's right. Okay, who was it?
It was the Russian guy who was drafted in the first round by the Sharks a couple years ago. So they basically traded a first round pick for Dahlin, who was a second round pick. And he's not even in the league anymore. I think he's in the KHL. I can't even remember his name.
Goldobin?
Yes, Goldobin. Yeah. Nikolai Goldobin.
Go.
They traded Goldobin for Dahlin because
right.
Dahlin wanted out. And so there's kind of like a favor, I guess, for, and I think Goldobin also wanted it. Goldobin got some good playing time that year in Vancouver because I think they were kind of bad, so they had space for him. So he got playing time and just couldn't stick in the league. But if you look back at that trade now, I think it's kind of a steal.
Oh, Nicholas Egan's saying Linus Karlsson.
No, it wasn't Linus Karlsson. No.
I don't know. Nicholas Egan's usually on point.
Dahlin has 11 goals and 9 assists.
Well, I'm more than happy with his production so far. I think he tailed off a bit there. Like he started off hot. He was in the Rookie of the Year conversation for like the first.
It's because he was scoring so many goals.
Yeah. It was maybe like the first like 15 games or so. He was kind of in that conversation. I think he's tapered off a bit, but that's okay.
Oh, he was right. It's Linus Karlsson. I thought it was Goldobin. Who did Goldobin get traded for?
Jannik Hansen. There you go. See, yeah, Nicholas Egan's on point. I told you, Nicholas Egan. He's the man.
Sorry,
yeah, Goldobin was traded for Jannik Hansen. That's right.
My bad.
Nice work,
Still, Karlsson. Wrong. Karlsson.
No, hey, who?
Not gonna work here.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows who that is. We didn't even know the trade. It's not. That's how small the trade was. All right, let's move on. The more you know. Let's move on. We want to talk a little bit about this. Actually, I don't even want to talk about it because he is no longer a Shark anyway, and I don't care. So I'm going to let Aaron just take this one away. But Evander Kane signing with the Edmonton Oilers. It's a deal that is essentially a $2.1 million cap hit because it's prorated. He has a $750,000. That's what he signed for, and then $650,000 signing bonus, which again, taking all into account after the fact, with the again prorating it, puts him as a $2.1 million cap hit. There you go. So that's the only thing I'm really interested in the Evander Kane saga now, other than the fact that we will be playing him on Valentine's Day. But go ahead, Aaron, take this away.
Well, not just then, but 4 times this season, those games are going to be intense. The rumors are kind of that he was going to sign with Edmonton, and then his agent was like, no, he's probably just stalling to get more money. But he did sign with Edmonton. They're also waiting to get cleared by the NHL for any wrongdoing of him leaving to Vancouver when he was supposed to be during the AHL COVID protocols. So he kind of broke protocol. The NHL saw that it was fine, and so he wasn't going to get suspended. So then they announced the next day that he signed with Edmonton. So it's probably what another holdup was for them not announcing it earlier. Anyway, first game in, and he scores a goal for Edmonton. So it was kind of interesting to see when they made the announcement. I saw on Twitter, Edmonton fans like kind of not sure how to feel about signing Evander Kane, because at the same time, the Edmonton Oilers have been tanking, like just nosediving in the standings. They were leading the Pacific Division for a while. They had such a hot start the first month and a half of the season, and then just tailspin in December and kind of into January. So they were kind of desperate. They needed something. They needed some kind of mix up. And instead of trading away someone, they signed the probably best power forward that is a sort of free agent in a way. So he's going to give them a little injection of hope, which he's so far in the first game has scored.
Yeah.
Now, after the game, someone had asked him a question about a confrontation that Evander Kane had while he was in San Jose I think it was his last season. It was with Rocky Thompson, the power play coach. Apparently, Rocky Thompson got into his face, took off his shirt, and challenged him to a fight. And Kane kind of like chuckled, and he thought he was joking at first. Then he realized, oh wow, he's kind of being serious. And it was kind of a weird story that comes out, right? Well, Evander Kane is like, I didn't leak that. Like that, that's supposed to be stays in the locker room. That shouldn't be coming out or leaking out. And it's kind of weird that it did. And I guess, Paul, you said you'd heard about it months ago, and I don't remember hearing that story. But it was just kind of weird. It's also kind of weird because Rocky Thompson did not come back, mainly because he didn't want to get vaccinated. But I bet that might have been part of the reason, maybe not the only reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, this just goes to show like what kind of locker room atmosphere was there, right? Now, Bob Bugner was asked about this. He was asked about a couple of things. So we have a clip here of Bob talking about it. He was asked about this incident. He was asked about what his thoughts were about Kane signing with Edmonton. Now he kind of plays it off, and I kind of believe him. Like, to me, that's like kind of a private incident. It was probably silly. It was stupid on Rocky Thompson's part. But it wasn't like super serious. He's probably just, I don't know. I don't want to speak for him because I wasn't there, but I don't think it was a big deal. And I think it became a big deal because the media heard about it, that's the weird part. Somebody leaked it, and it was somebody that was on the power play, because it was a specific power play meeting. Not all the players were there. Couture missed it. I think he was hurt the last 3 seasons of the game because it was at the very end of the season. So he wasn't there. So I think he was even asked about it, and he was like, I wasn't there. I don't know. I only heard about it from some other people. So here's what Bob Bugner had to say about both the incident and Evander signing with Edmonton.
Yeah, well, so number one, I'll say this. I mean, I don't ever want to talk about another player from a different organization. And Vander's gone his own way. We've gone our own way, and I wish him nothing but the best. To address that situation, I would think that all I'd have to say is, obviously, I wasn't in that meeting. I wasn't. I was not really made aware of it for some time later. And discussions and arguments or disagreements will happen between players and coaches all the time, within the 4 walls of our dressing room. And, if it was a real serious situation, I think that I would have been found out a lot earlier than that. And obviously would have addressed it. But, I don't think it was, I don't think it was anything drastic. It was a disagreement and an argument kind of thing. And that stuff happens all the time. That's really all I could say about it. I think that, again, I wasn't in the actual meeting. Well, I heard about it, but I mean, and no one complained about it, or it wasn't an issue. And, I think some guys probably would have thought it was more of a lighthearted kind of a joking situation. And, so I don't think, again, I think it was taken a little out of context. Again, I don't really want to make a comment about, other than, I think that, we all know he's a good hockey player. If he gets there and he gets on the ice and works hard and he, stays healthy, and I'm sure he can help that team. But again, I think things happen for different reasons, and people move on. That's the business we're in. And, a lot of these guys will go through a few organizations on their way through their career. So, good for him, and wish him all the best.
Now, the only reason I brought that up is because it had to do with the Sharks last season, had to do with their locker room, kind of like their the whole culture thing. So it seems like, wow, it was a mess at the end of that season last year. I could see why they wanted to move on. I mean, to me, I don't think that was Kane's fault. Who knows what the argument was actually about? But that's just not good to have. Like, imagine pissing off a coach so much that he takes his shirt off and challenges you to a fight. Dear Lord. I mean, and I'm not pinning it on Kane. Just overall I'm sure there was major tension in that room all season long because they're probably frustrated from losing, frustrated from all kinds of things. So good riddance. I'm hoping this is the absolute last clip that we ever have to play about Evander Kane. The only thing lingering now is the mediation and if and how much the Sharks are going to have to pay him and have a cap hit. That's it. That's I'm worried about the cap hit. I hope it's minimal or nothing.
I got a feeling it's going to be nothing because if they're terminating the contract, then that's kind of what the termination of the contract does, right? Gets rid of the cap hit. So, again, for me, this whole Kane thing, I'm happy and glad to have put this behind. The next time I'm going to talk about Kane will be because he's playing against the Sharks. Mm-hmm. I don't care about anything else that's going on. If Edmonton has something they want to talk about, he's new to them, let them talk. I'm cool with it. I'm over it. So I'm sure come Valentine's Day, we'll be saying, hey, we played against the Edmonton Oilers and Evander Kane, and this happened, blah, blah, blah. But beyond that, I don't care anymore. Like, he's gone. He's your problem now. Enjoy. But there's a couple people in here that were saying, it's Anthony Sanchez mainly, would play to get on with it. So for this subject in particular, I'm going to invoke super producer Jason to play the get on with it.
Nope, doesn't work like that.
No? Super producer Jason.
Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it.
Yes, get on with it.
And we are getting on with it. No more Evander Kane talk for now. Oh,
Get on with it.
come on, man. I'm trying to. Okay. All right. So roll call. Let's do it now. Are you going to be watching the All-Star game this weekend? That is the question. Now, obviously, let us know where you're watching us from. But that is the question. Are you going to be watching the All-Star game this weekend? Aaron, are you going to be watching the All-Star game?
I think I mentioned this before. Probably the skills competition. Not sure about the actual All-Star game. To me, it's not as engaging, I guess, for me. I mean, I'll probably try and sit and watch with my kids and try and get them interested in it. They might like it. It'll be pretty cool, but it also depends on what else we got going on this weekend. So who knows? How about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same vein. I'm more interested in the skills competition stuff. And even that stuff is kind of, it's worn a little bit. So it'd be nice to see if they did something different. I think I had brought this up. I don't know if I brought it up on air the last time, but I think the backwards skating at speed would be awesome for defensemen. I think that would be cool. And I think I know that it did because I mentioned it'll probably be that somebody ends up tripping, smashes their head into the wall, and then that'll be the end of that one, right? But I think it'd be cool to kind of showcase more than just forward speed, and it's something different, right?
Did you see?
It's a different class too. It's defenseman instead of forward, so it'd be kind of cool.
There's 2 new games because it's in Vegas this year, right? The All-Star game. So there's 2 new games. One of them is blackjack. Have you seen this?
No.
So there's a whole wall of cards, and they have a puck on their stick, and they have to break, kind of like the competition of breaking for what's it called? Accuracy.
Okay.
Right? So they have to get blackjack, is my guess.
Nice.
And then the other one is the fountain face-off at the Bellagio, which is interesting. I'm not sure how that one's going to work.
Okay. Well, we'll have to watch and find out, I guess.
In this. Huh?
I said we'll have to watch and find out, I guess, whatever that means.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I think that's a fantastic way to maybe every year now for the All-Star game that you put in a little local flavor in for a competition, like how Vegas has the fountains. Like maybe you do something with the monument or whatever is in that city that they're in to make it kind of interesting and different every year. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Awesome. Well, honestly, not overly interested in the All-Star game, but I'll probably sit and watch the skills competition. It's usually a pretty decent time. So, and it'll be nice to see what I guess like location specific events that they're doing. So there you go. Games ahead. Let's take a look at these ones here tomorrow. Or if you're listening to this as of tomorrow, it would be today. But the Tampa Bay Lightning. So the last time that we met the Tampa Bay Lightning, we don't want to talk about it. 7-1, complete whooping. Gosh, I feel like they're going to come out better, but the problem is Tampa Bay is also playing at home, and we're missing more guys that were there when we got beat 7-1. So we're a little more depleted. We're in their barn, so I just don't know. I don't know if we're going to get smashed in this game or if we're just going to lose. What do you think?
I'm going to go on a limb here.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Sharks are going to win.
Wow.
And I'm going to say that because they're playing in Tampa Bay. It's the last game before break. I'm going to say Tampa Bay mindset is they're already on vacation.
Okay.
Because they're home with their families. They're probably packing to go somewhere. You know what I mean? That same feeling you get when you're working and you're going on a 6-day vacation, leaving tomorrow. You can't focus on work the day before. Your mind is gone. You're on vacation. You're sipping margaritas on the beach. Forget it. So to me, I think Tampa Bay is going to have that mindset, and the Sharks are going to have the mindset of, let's put in some work before we get on that plane and go home and enjoy our vacation, because they still have to fly across the country back home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the Sharks are going to win and beat Tampa Bay. Plus, they're also going to have a little, vengeance and remembrance from the last booty whooping that they got 7-1.
So we'll do a part 2 to this roll call. I want to know what everybody else thinks. I want to know if everyone else thinks that Tampa Bay is gonna lose this game here. I feel like you're probably right on the Tampa Bay Lightning thinking, you know what, we're home, we're relaxed. Let's kind of cruise into the weekend. But I think it doesn't matter. I think they're just such a talented team that even in cruise control, they're probably still going to take the Sharks and just kind of beat them. I don't think it's going to be a whooping. I don't think it's going to be a 7-1 loss. I think the Sharks are a little bit bitter about that, and they're going to come out upset, and they're going to go for it. But I just don't think that they have enough. You got some of the best forwards in the world. You got one of the best defensemen in the world, and you got arguably one of the best, if not the best, goaltenders in the world, who they probably won't even bother starting against the Sharks in Tampa Bay. So I don't know. I don't see that one going too well, but I was wrong this week already. So hopefully I'm wrong again. And we can come out of this with a 5 out of a possible 8 points. That would be amazing if the Sharks were able to pull that one off. But again, frankly, I was thinking we're probably only going to get 1 on this entire road trip. We've already got 3. I'm fairly happy with that, especially considering how depleted the roster has been as of recent, at least. So, no matter which way it goes, I'm not going to say I'll be happy with a loss, but I'll be happy with the overall result of the road trip, I would say. That's me.
I like what Alexnia25 just said. It'll be close, I think, because the guys that are playing will likely be playing quite tight. I agree. I think they're going to be playing a much tighter game than they did back when they played them at home and got smacked. So I think they're going to be pulling their bootstraps up once again against a good team, because they know they play up when they play a good team. They want to know that they can be on this level.
Patrick Cabral says we're going to win an OT. I like Nicholas Egan's comment again here. Goal for tomorrow's game is to not have anyone else get hurt. That's quite the goal, isn't it? Is that what we've come to? Is that what we've come to? We just don't want people to get hurt now?
No, at this point, I want them to get hurt, so then they tank in the standings and they have to trade everyone away and get nothing.
Hey, man, you can't trade a hurt player. I mean, you could, but it's a lot more difficult, and you're not going to get what you could for him. It'll be closer than 7-1, which isn't saying much. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, I know I just got done saying the next time we'll be talking about Evander Kane is when we're playing against them, and it just happens to be that we will be playing against them on Monday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. What better setting for this one, right? It's like the hockey gods are saying, no, you must continue to talk about Kane. I mean, this one here, Edmonton, you said it yourself. They're kind of started off hot. They're in a bit of a free fall, but they did pick up Evander Kane. He is still a very talented player. He did score in his first game back with them. It was the first period, no less. So I think he's got maybe a little extra oomph for this game. I think he kind of wants to shove a little bit back into the Sharks players. This whole thing about them not necessarily wanting him in the locker room. I think he said his piece about that, but at the same time, I think there might be a little bit of bitterness between him and some of those players. So I think he comes out hard, whether he has a good game or not. I think he just comes out hard. Now, I'd like to see Gadjevich in the lineup for that one, just in case. Although, we've said before, Evander Kane isn't the frequent fighter that people make him out to be. He's certainly a physical force, but he only drops the gloves about on average twice a season, which we found out after I had asked that question. I think it was the season or two ago. But again, I think he's going to come out hard. And I think the Sharks need to do the same to kind of match that intensity. But really, the storyline isn't going to be so much about Evander Kane. It's going to be about Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid and shutting them down offensively. If you can do that, you have an opportunity to beat that team, which I think other teams have found out. And that's probably why Edmonton has been struggling as of recent here.
I was going to ask, do you think Veal will fight him? I think they're going to be maybe not necessarily targeting him, but I think they'll go after him. I think something will happen.
I don't know. Be interesting to see. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it, seeing how the game plays out. I'm just not looking forward to talking about everything that's happening in Evander Kane's life anymore. So, I mean, as long as he's an opponent, I'm happy to talk about him. You know what I mean? So.
Yes. We do have a Ottawa Senators fan, 2 wheels down, as a Sens fan, how about we trade you Chris Tierney back?
Okay. Who do you want though? That's the question. Is who do you want?
Hurdle.
But I'm listening. See, now if it's a player I don't care about, I'm not even listening. But Chris Tierney, I don't mind Chris Tierney. I want to hear what you have to offer there. 2 wheels down. You got to explain 2 wheels down as well. I don't know what that means. Are you ride motorcycles? What do you do?
Training wheels?
Training wheels.
2 wheels down?
He's got 2 wheels down on the sides of a hover bike. What doesn't make sense? Okay.
We'll take Tierney back along with Josh Norris. I think that'd be fair, right? For Tomas Hurdle. Would you do it?
Don't trade Hurdle away. Come on.
Would you do Hurdle for Norris and Tierney?
Sens aren't going to take Hurdle.
Yeah.
Where are the Sens in the standings right now? A bag of pucks. He wants a bag of pucks for Chris Tierney. Really? Is he that bad?
I'm looking at his stats. He's got 5 goals and 6 assists. He's already better than Noah Gregor.
There we go. Anthony Sanchez. Gregor for Tierney. You can have Gregor, my friend. And you know what? We'll send you the bag of pucks. Extra.
Watch. Gregor will find a scoring touch there. You're not getting Norris.
I also need to know 2 wheels down as an Ottawa fan how you came across our little show here. I would be very interested in hearing about that. So please let us know. Thank you so much. As long as Tierney got packaged back with Norris, I'm with 2 wheels down there. We're not getting Norris. I don't see that happening at all.
No way.
Yeah, there's just no way. No chance. So, oh well. Moving on from the Monday, February 14th, Valentine's Day game against the Edmonton Oilers, we also have the Thursday game against Vancouver. Again, a team in our specific division here who is on a downward spiral, according to you, right?
Sure.
I thought they had a coach that was taking them back up, and then they're starting to come back down. They're all over the place. They're in an emotional roller coaster, just like me. So how do you think this game is going to go? Again, you said, and I wonder if this is a you thing or this is a Shark fan thing, or if this is just a fan of any team in general thing, where they say that the level of play is matched by the level of competition, right? So they tend to play down to the bad teams and play up to the good teams. I do wonder if that's something that every sports fan who watches their team just is always upset with their team when they do that, right? And if they think it happens all the time. But regardless, what do you think about this Vancouver game? Do you think this is one that's winnable? I mean, I think it is, obviously, but do you think they're going to come away with 2 points here?
Yeah, I think they can. I think it's kind of fortunate for the Sharks to be playing Vancouver now and not when the game was originally supposed to take place during that Christmas break, because that Christmas break, Vancouver was on a tear. I think they were on a 10-game winning streak or something like that. And that the Sharks were supposed to play them then. So they kind of cooled off now. And it's funny, they've caught the Sharks in the standings. They are 1 point behind the Sharks with the same amount of games played. So that's how good they were and how much they caught up, how much ground they caught up. But I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but they still have good pieces to their team that can be a dangerous team. They're not a pushover. They're not like Arizona or I'd say Seattle, but Seattle has the Sharks number. So they're not quite that level of bad. Montreal is actually the worst right now. I don't know if you've seen what Montreal has done. They've gone from Stanley Cup finalist to absolute dead last place in the league. Their goal differential is a -73. That is just...
Well, gosh, what's the biggest difference, Aaron?
In the league?
No, in Montreal from then to now.
Oh, Carey Price? That's not the only
helps.
difference. They lost Carey Price. They lost, was it Shea Weber? They lost Deneau, went to LA. So they lost some key players and are just not the same. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Vancouver, I think that's a win for the Sharks.
2 wheels down explaining that when the Karlsson trade happened, he found us. So that was a long time ago. Thank you so much for popping back in. We hope to see you still joining these streams. It's nice getting folks from other teams coming in and just kind of popping in, saying hi and offering some insights on their teams and stuff as well. So it's pretty nice having you come back here. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Price is officially the worst contract in the league. Yeah, I guess so.
I like Anthony's comment here. For the Sharks to be competitive for the remainder of the season, they really need to cash in on the power play regularly. who is it? Becker, I think it just posted tonight that the Sharks were 5th or something for 5-on-5 goals for differential. It's the special teams that are killing them right now. If they can get that power play working, you're going to see them winning more games and jumping in the standings. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
The
problem
power
is
play
their
is the key.
Their second line power play has not a lot of star power on it, we'll say. So
I think I like watching that second line better than the first line. I feel like they work harder and move the puck around more than the first line. I feel like they get better chances. They're not better because they're not scoring more, but I think they look more dangerous usually.
All right. Well, we shall see. And maybe we'll see on Sunday against the Vegas Golden Knights, which I know a lot of fans see. This is what bothers me is a lot of fans, they look at these games like against like Carolina, for instance, and against Florida and against Tampa Bay. And like, oh, we'll see how we measure up against the really good teams, And it's like, well, we're not a really good team, so there's not really much to measure up to. They're just better than us flat out. We may get a win. We may get it close. I mean, things like that happen, but over a 7-game series, right? So this is one of those ones where, you get people going, oh, it's a measuring stick game, right? It's the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, they're a very good team. They're a better team than the Sharks are right now, and have been a better team for a while, I think. But I don't know. I'm kind of not looking at any other team thinking of them as like a measuring stick. Where do we stack up? Because at this point in the season, we kind of know where we are and where we stack up. We are a team that can go out and beat the Florida Panthers. We are a team that can go out and beat Washington. Now, we didn't beat Florida, but we were right there. We hung with them. Carolina, same thing. We were right there. We hung with them. Tampa Bay, we got throttled right there, right? But I don't think that we need to look at Vegas and go, well, where do we stack up? Right? We know that they're a better team. That's okay. So in a 7-game series, yeah, you're probably seeing Vegas move on. But in this one instance, could the Sharks win? I feel like the Sharks can still beat anybody in the league in one game at least. So I'm just kind of done with the whole measuring stick thing. I don't know. What do you think about the Vegas game? Are they just too strong? Let me know.
Yeah, I think Vegas is going to beat us. I think
Just
they're
like
too
that.
strong. I think there's too much depth on Vegas. I mean, and their guys aren't even healthy right now. I don't know when Eichel is supposed to be back. It's going to be maybe in March. And I think Mark Stone just came off of IR, so he's back and playing. So their team is more and more dangerous. Pacioretty and Mark Stone are back. So, and they're going to be, they're getting a break because they're having the All-Star break this week. So, I don't know. Doesn't look good.
All right. Well, that's
sorry.
Pretty much. Yeah. Thanks for doing that. Okay. So I think we're pretty much out of stuff to talk about here. So last thing here is Two Wheels Down saying the Sharks have been in need of a rebuild for a few seasons now. In a sense, I agree, but realistically, hindsight is 2020. So just because you didn't make it to the finals or because the retooling didn't work, you can look back and say, yeah, we should have rebuilt, right? But when you look at some of the players that were acquired trying to make this team, have one last run, I think they were close in some respects. Maybe the record didn't show it. Maybe the stats didn't show it. But in terms of the personnel they brought in, that's certainly what they were trying to do. Obviously, now it's a lot different. They're not quite rebuilding. They're kind of retooling on the fly, if you will. But I think, Aaron, this season might be the season where we start looking at an actual rebuild. And I'm not saying that for any sort of dramatic purpose. I'm saying that because if Tomas Hertl does go at the trade deadline, for me, that is the moment where we say, okay, we're done with this retooling stuff. Let's rebuild. Let's sell off as much as we can, as quick as we can. Because Tomas Hertl, for me, if you don't have him on this team, there's really no reason to try to build around Logan Couture. I just don't see it happening.
No, I think if this happens, I think they're going to be building around Bordelot and Eklund and whoever else is coming in the top pick this upcoming year, right?
Yeah.
So it is kind of a retooling. The other thing is moving Hertl, getting Kane off the books. There's a lot of salary cap space.
Yep.
So they're going to have more freedom to sign other free agents this upcoming summer. They can also use that as an asset to trade, bad contracts from other teams that for players that are so good, and getting other stuff like draft picks or prospects along with it. So
Or
I
fill
think
the forecastle.
I think they're set up to have a better turnaround season next season than this year.
Anthony's saying trade Couture and build the future around Hurdle. I would consider that, except that Hurdle's contract is up, and so that's the guy that's going to end up getting traded.
I feel like when Couture gets towards the end of his contract with 1 or 2 years left, I think he's going to be tradable because at that point his salary cap won't be so bad as hit, and the Sharks can retain it. But he is a playoff beast. Any team's going to want him in the playoffs. I mean, imagine in 2 more years from now, he won't be as dominant, I guess, or as like a second or third, but he would be like a third line of really good scoring third line center on a very good team.
Very good. Yeah.
So I think he's going to be trade bait in a couple years. Not yet, because his contract has too many years left.
Yeah. Like I said, once Hurdle goes for me, that's the last shoe dropping. So everybody else in the coming years, as their contracts fall off, unload, get what you can for them, and rebuild from there. So on that downer, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. But I want to say again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know it was a little bit light on the comments today, but always good to have folks coming in, correcting us when we're saying it's the wrong player or the wrong amount of money or the wrong trade or whatever it is. Thank you guys for popping in and correcting us there. And also 2 Wheels Down, thank you for popping in, our resident Ottawa fan. Popping in, saying hi, and man, you've been around for a long time. I appreciate that. For all the regulars, again, thank you guys for popping in as well. And I don't think we had any super chat, but if you did happen to contribute to the show at any point, we appreciate that as well. Also, remember, you can go to thefinfactor.com and thank you, he's got it down the bottom screen for me. Go to thefinfactor.com, hit the support the show link, because that is what you're doing. You can check out all the merchandise that we have. We got Aaron's bottle if you want to pop that one up again. We've got the fanny packs and the sweatshirts, and we've got t-shirts and hats and stickers, all that fun stuff. So if you feel like supporting the show, please feel free to hit us up over there. Okay, Aaron, any last second thing you want to throw in here?
Don't think so.
You never do. I don't even know why I bother asking anymore. But for super producer Jason, I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you guys.
Probably not next week because of the All-Star game.
Probably not next week. So after that.
2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support our show.